Today we're gonna be making Mexican sopes. I mean, can you just imagine a thick, crispy, golden tortilla specifically and carefully crafted to hold the most amazing toppings? I can, and that's why all of a sudden I just got hungry. I hope you are too, because we are making stunning sopes from scratch, loading them with amazing, great traditional flavors from creamy beans to chorizo and all the fixings in between. We're starting with 3 cups of instant corn masarina. I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of kosher salt. We just wanna lightly salt it, and feel free to mix it in with your hands until well distributed. Remember, those toppings are gonna have a ton of flavor, so we definitely want them to complement each other, not overpower each other. I'm gonna gradually add some water, and this is warm. Knead in between additions because we want this to come together, form a mass, get fully hydrated, and there are no dry patches. The best way to know is by feel, because the amount of water can really vary depending on the temperature of the water and even the temperature of the room. It shouldn't be too dry where it cracks or too soft where it's just too sticky. I used about 2 cups of the warm water, give or take, and I'm just gonna continue kneading for 3 to 5 minutes. Masa is smooth and it's not sticking to my clean hands. I'm just gonna keep it covered because we don't want it to dry out. And if it does, don't worry, you can always mix in a little more water in there. Just do it in small amounts. Grab some masa. We're gonna shape it into a ball. And you should be able to get about 10 sopes out of this amount. Then flatten into a disc. And all I'm doing is applying slight pressure as I rotate. Another thing you're gonna notice is if your masa is well hydrated, those edges are gonna be nice and smooth. Continue that motion until you've made a thick tortilla that's about 1/4 of an inch in thickness. Smooth those edges. Cover them with plastic wrap. That way they don't dry out. For the most part, you can make them, cook them as you go, but I'd rather make them all at once and then cook them. So that's what we're doing. Flatten that ball into a disc and continue that motion, rotate it. Here's another great way to make them. Just place a disc in between 2 round plastic liners, and using the bottom of a flat plate, gently press it down and then kind of feel the amount of pressure that you need to do. Run your fingers through the side and you're good to go. Remove it from the plastic liners. You can also make them with a tortilla press. I'm gonna leave you all of those details on villacocina.com. That link is gonna be down in the description area so you can have fun with that. Depending on the comal that you're using, you might need to increase or lower that temperature. The ideal goal is for that sope to cook through, get a nice browning without burning, because even though they cook like a tortilla, it is gonna take longer because they're thicker. I've preheated my carbon steel comal over medium-low heat. It is time to add those sopes, and I can fit about 4 in there. These have actually released from the bottom, but I still need a little more browning. So the other thing is, you don't have to flip these by hand. You can use a spatula. No need to burn your hands. There you go. That's exactly what you're looking for. I think a couple of these already. Oh, this one will do. You can also tell that surface starting to change. It doesn't feel too soft anymore. Bottom looks great, but they're still not cooked through. I can tell because there's a few soft spots in there, so we're just gonna give them a flip. Yes, you can flip them as many times as you like so you get an even cooking all around. These are ready to come off the comal. They look gorgeous, brown on both sides. Let's do the rest while those cool down a bit. I've cooled these for about a minute. You cannot let them get warm or even cold because it's gonna be super hard for you to mold them and they're gonna tear. So what I like to do is cover my index finger and my thumb with a clean kitchen towel and just pinch those edges. Also pinch that center, make sure you don't tear it. All right, let's check on these. They're good to flip. Multitasking, baby. These are looking beautiful. Once you can handle it, you can go and run your fingers again just to give it a better shape. Using kitchen gloves might also come in handy here. Do what you can, do not get burnt. except if you're cooking with your mother. My mom is so picky. I always tell her, Mom, is it really necessary to be burning your fingers and your hands? Like, it's just crazy. She likes to cook on high heat, really high heat. Last one is done. We're just gonna keep them all covered because we need to cook some chorizo. It's gonna get cooked in a large nonstick pan because we wanna allow all of that fat to render without having to add any extra. And if you need to, feel free to always add a little bit, but for the most part, you shouldn't have to. Chorizo looks fabulous. It's gonna get off the heat because we need to reheat some refried beans. And we do have to add a little bit of water because refried beans tend to thicken up. And yes, this is bottled water. I'm not gonna show you how to make them because I've shown you plenty of times. Plus, I have a couple of videos on it and a full printable recipe on villacocina.com, so feel free to check that out. You could even make these ahead of time, just like I'm doing. We are not gonna be frying the sopes today, but I have a technique for you that is revolutionizing. I actually learned it from a friend of mine while we were working at a restaurant. When we had downtime, she would show me a couple of her Mexican recipes and then I would as well. So I want to show you how to do it over a comal that is right now over medium heat, but the temperature can vary. You can go down to medium low if you need to. Place as many sopes as you can over that comal. If you have a large griddle, a large comal, even better. We're gonna take some lard and just drizzle it inside the sopes. You don't have to use lard. You can do avocado oil, like bacon fat. Sounds really good. Even chicken fat. I've had chicken fat left over and I think it would go really good with this as well.
Yes.
Ton of flavor. Then we're gonna do some onion, and this one's finely chopped. And also allow that fat inside the sope to begin sizzling. It's gonna happen, believe it. I like to check the bottoms. If they're not getting too brown, that means that the heat is on point. And it's looking pretty good. I'm on medium low at this point. That took about 3 to 5 minutes. Now I'm gonna drizzle Crema Mexicana. And I like to get generous because this is going to turn into a cheesy sauce. It's just amazing because guess what? We are adding crumbled cotija cheese. Let the crema bubble and that cheese slightly soften. While that is happening, we're getting this crispy crust at the bottom. It's gonna be so good. I've got 3 that are looking gorgeous. They're ready. I'm just gonna remove them and allow the rest to do their thing. Do refried beans, chorizo, some finely shredded lettuce, some diced tomatoes. I do have some pickled red onions that I think go perfectly. Salsa matcha, you can make your own salsa, but when I thought about these sopes, this type of salsa just came to mind because just imagine that peanut spicy kick. Lastly, a touch of cilantro.
I could not be more excited.
This is the thing. I'm not gonna eat all of these. They're way too many for me, but Nelson's gonna take care of that. I'm only gonna have 2, but let's dig right in. Wow.
This is dreamland.
It is texture galore. There's the salsa matcha got to my throat. It's spicy. So delicious, but it pairs heavenly with these sopes. What do you think about that crunch at the bottom?
Oh my goodness.
It's so good. It's the
So
best thing ever.
Yes.
Masa flavor is really present. You can feel it in every bite. The crispiness at the bottom, that chorizo, the tanginess from the pickled red onion. This is just incredible, you guys, and so easy to make.
Wow. This is just so good.
You get flavor from the bottom of the sope all the way to the top.
Yeah,
to
this
the
is
tip
so
of it.
good.
I have to carb count, as you guys know. So typically what I do is leave out the beans. And they taste as good. There's so much flavor going on.
Oh, yeah.
That you can afford to do that. So proud of it. Remember that the full printable recipe, you guys, is going to be linked down in the description area. Well, I guess this is it. Until the next one, we're gonna enjoy these sopes.
This is not it yet. We're not finished yet. Bye, everyone.
Bye.